Resolutions are flawed. The whole new year, new me thing has always struck me as pretty funny. Like, are you a Pokemon? I kind of wish that we left behind a husk like a molten crab or something. That would be neat. Unfortunately, we still carry the past years with us, building like sediment, layering on goals, achievements, failures, without ever stopping to ask why. As someone with a gym routine, it's always funny to see how crowded it gets on January 2nd, and then a week later it's mostly back to normal. I relate to that. There's a lot of routines that I try to start only to fall off. I used to actually make my bed for like 3 months, every single day. And it was nice, but ultimately, who's that for? I don't think that resolutions are that great. There's a lot of guilt tied up with them. The one day that you forget to make your bed, the world burns down, right? Most people fail their resolutions in the first month. I personally prefer to think of goals. You can put a deadline on a goal, you can plan for a goal, and you don't have to start every goal on, January 2nd. I made a pretty exhaustive list of projects and goals for this year, and one of them was to make video essays, so got that one. My list got long, and as I started writing this, I started to have second thoughts. This is an art channel, so I wanted to put out some sound advice on keeping resolutions and sticking to routines, but I'm not a particularly disciplined person, and it just wouldn't feel right to regurgitate something that I heard on a podcast while buying groceries. I started to think about the why of resolutions, especially with art, and it raised some questions. Why do we make resolutions? Why do we make art? What do we want to get out of this? I think that if we can answer some of those questions, it will be a lot easier to make resolutions that we'll keep instead of deciding like, oh, I hear that it's really important to make your bed every day. I guess that I'll do that. I think that we make resolutions out of dissatisfaction with ourselves and with our environment. We dare to imagine a version of ourselves with discipline. Someone who goes to bed and wakes up early, someone who eats vegetables and goes to the gym, our perfect self. We couldn't do it last year, but maybe this year things will be different. Each year carries the promise of a fresh start. The word resolve makes me think of tough guys gritting their teeth, mountains of willpower fighting against all odds, and if we fail our resolution, that means we're weak, not enough willpower, not tough enough. The etymology, though, is resolution. That is like to melt something down into its component parts, which is neat. Something about recomposing the order of things. We aren't hardening, we're growing and changing into new forms. As I look back at the past year, back when I started the channel, I see a lot of change, and I see a lot that still needs doing, but I don't really think that it's about willpower. Research on resolutions show that willpower is a really bad determinant. It's much better to find like structural changes so that in your moments of weakness you don't have to depend on willpower. Basically, you set your life up such that you have no choice but to stick to your plan, to make will be a non-issue, to make the thing that you want to do the default. I think that's certainly a different mindset, but man, it takes work. I think a good first step is to actually look back and take an inventory of where you've been, what you've accomplished. Posting art regularly has served as a great tool for this. Being able to go back through my Instagram posts and see all of the drawings that I made, and the 4 guys who always like my posts. Shout out to them. I think of it as an historical record, so you can go back and dig up some grimy drawings and do a side-by-side. Ugh. Alright everybody, it's time to hop on the emotional roller coaster. Keep your arms and legs inside at all times, and then when you're going up and going down, you put your arms in the air and you say... past couple years have been hard for all of us for a lot of reasons. Gaining and losing jobs, losing old friends and trying to make new ones, surviving and growing through phases of depression, art block, and toxic situations. Those are things that we can be proud of. Things don't have to be perfect to be proud of that kind of growth. Humans change, and that takes time. Self-doubt. I think self-doubt is a lot more harmful than failure. I'm teaching a painting class right now, and I've noticed that two of my most skilled, most talented students are actually the slowest ones. And I try to encourage them, I poke them, I prod them, like, you got to get something on your canvas. It's okay if it's not perfect. Let's just get something down and then we can work on it from there. And I think that life can be like that too. We just need to do something, even if it's not perfect. It's okay. We can paint over it. So I think that it's okay if a painting isn't perfect. I can still put it up on Instagram anyway. And it's okay if something's hard. Just trying and asking for help is important too. It's okay if an opportunity doesn't pan out. There will be others. It's okay if you're trying to ask someone out and you think that they're way out of your league and your hair is dirty. Ask them out anyway. What's going to happen? They'll kill you? Perfect. It's okay if everything in life isn't the way that we thought it would be. We're allowed to be happy anyway, right? So why is it that we make art? I set a lot of goals for my art this coming year, and I think that concrete, achievable goals are a way better way to approach things than something as vague as like draw every day. But I haven't examined the why of making art, and each person has their own answer to this. Some artists want to make art to tell a story, others to vent their emotion. Quite a few of us just want to engage in our niche interests. A common goal is to draw every day, but I really hate this mindset. That's not a goal, it's a calendar. You can draw every single day, never leaving your comfort zone, or worse, you can burn out without growing. I think that it's a lot better to work on something that you can actually measure and say, I've improved, rather than just doing something every day. For me, art is so enjoyable because of the flow state, where everything else melts away, all of the intrusive thoughts and stresses of life quiet down for a bit. As a kid, it was definitely a way of connecting with my grandfather, who is an artist, and receiving some recognition from those around me. Interestingly, it still feels funny as an identity, going around saying, oh, look at me, I'm an artist. Like, bro, what does that even mean? I've always hoped to make a living through my art, and so I'm taking graphic design classes and slowly chewing my way through the Adobe suite, hoping that one day someone will be willing to give me health insurance so that I can make ads that interrupt YouTube essays in the middle of a sentence. I hope we can find the things that make art enjoyable and focus on what brings us joy outside of success or even meaning. The other day, I was visiting a neighbor who's a fantastic artist, and we spent all this time just working together, talking about the craft, sharing insights, and just catching up. I haven't had that kind of side-by-side art making since high school. And now that I've had a taste, I'm hungry for more. If you end up sharing your art at all, the end product of art is human connection. We make art as a projection of ourselves to share with the world, and that can be really risky. We spin the wheel of vulnerability, and if we're super lucky, we might get a fleeting moment of validation, but probably not. I find that as scary as it can be to reach out to people and meet face to face, I've really been blown away by how receptive people are. And the more that we acknowledge that fear, weirdly, the less scary it is. I hope that my art can be part of that, even if it's just painting with kids or visiting my neighbor or making silly videos on YouTube. Maybe someone watching will go make art with someone. I certainly feel a lot better after taking time to think and write about it. So I don't think that resolutions are about being tough, making decisions, sticking to it no matter what. I think that resolutions are about introspection, looking at all of the things that have crystallized inside of you and asking, is there a better way to do things? What have I accomplished so far? What do I really want? What's really going on under the surface? I think that we can take this new year as a chance to soften, to grow, and to melt into the person that we want to be.